Chlorophyte bars are expensive. So expensive that they require 6 ore per bar. It's the most in the entire game. And so rather than driving back and forth between the underground jungle and your base, it's much better to farm it. Here my character's farming some, what I would consider seed chlorophyte ore from the jungle itself. But this is the last trip I hope to make to the jungle. Now I'm going to be building my chlorophyte farm. I'm going to go down to the caverns layer. I don't think it's necessarily required that I go that deep, but you should know that you don't have to create a farm in the underground jungle itself. And the underground section will do. And so I'm building one pretty much directly underneath my main base. I've gone down the chute that I carved out beneath the main base that heads directly to the underworld. And I've stopped a little bit of the way down. You can see on the right there, I'm about 528 feet into the caverns. Certainly deep enough. I've brought along with me the chlorophyte you saw me farming just a minute ago, as well as a full stack of mud. Now I won't need that entire stack, but you'll see as this time-lapse video moves along, I create 5x5 squares of mud, with the center block being the chlorophyte seed ore that I mined earlier. And what that ore does, as it does just in the underground jungle as well, is it spreads, and it spreads through the mud once planted. And so if you just sit back and relax, over time those squares will slowly transform from mud into chlorophyte. I'm pretty confident that if left unattended long enough, these entire 25 block units will convert in the entirety to chlorophyte. So essentially once it's done baking, you can leave the center cube and just replace the mud around it as you harvest the chlorophyte ore. At 6 ore per block, you're going to have to do this quite a few times, and so I've set up, well, at this point I am setting up a number of these little units. This design is by no means set in stone. You can adapt it, you can try to plant bigger squares than this. They may have changed the system. I just wanted to play it safe and make sure that the entire supply of mud was used efficiently. But again, this is probably subject to change with each patch. You'll see as this video progresses that while I'm building it, the ore actually spreads in my presence, which is useful because I only had a few units of chlorophyte to begin with. This allowed me to make even more farm units, or whatever you want to call it. Chlorophyte's an important bar because you need it in the end game to create chlorophyte bullets, which were, or are, extremely useful in boss fights as they track the enemy. They're basically homing bullets with a decent amount of damage. You'll also need it if you're trying to progress through the end game because it's required to make the turtle armor and of course also the beetle armor, which I found extremely useful for beating the Moon Lord and Fishron and all of those top tier boss units. There's not much more to it than this really. You plant the mud around the chlorophyte ore, sit back, and let it grow. I've read that the chlorophyte actually helps purify biomes, or at the very least helps stop the spread of the corruption and the hollow. That's not really a problem for me because I've bought the contaminator and affording the solution is no longer an issue. If you've seen my Ocean Grinder money farm video, then you know that money later in the game is no longer an issue. If you haven't seen my Ocean Grinder money farm video, or really videos, I think there are 2 of them at this point, I suggest you go to my videos section and check it out because it's extremely useful for generating platinum. It lets you buy the nice things in life like the contaminator and the solution for the contaminator. But anyway, back on topic, this chlorophyte farm is pretty much done at this point. I'm going to include at the end of this video a time-lapse video showing the chlorophyte spread. It does spread while you're there, but it's a bit like watching grass grow or paint dry. It's not that entertaining, hence the time lapse I'm going to include at the very end here. If you found this video helpful, by all means like it. Feel free to subscribe to the channel if you'd like more Terraria videos. I hope this helped you guys, and thanks for watching. Again, following this will be a time lapse just so you can get a feel for the spread of the chlorophyte. I'll include the clock in the video just so you can get a perspective on how long it takes in game time for the chlorophyte to spread.